Welcome back, folks. Not a lot of foreplay today. We are getting into why the Second American Civil War is going to happen. This is part one of a three-part short series, so we can get all of our thoughts out and in the right order. Please stand by. We are currently in the beginning stages, the revolution. The folks performing all of the merriment right now, they might call it a revolution, but it's not a revolution against the government. Now, how do I know this? Because the government has not put it down. They can do it anytime they want to, but they don't. Why? These are not calm and peaceful protests. In no way, shape, or form are these calm and peaceful. They are violent. They are destructive. They are designed to sow chaos. But in no way are they a revolution against the government. They are a revolution against you, your way of life, your choices. They're an American revolution against Americans. This started easily enough years ago. The most notable example was the Occupy protests. You guys remember those? For a little bit of clarity, the Occupy movement, it was an international, progressive, socio-political movement that expresses opposition to social and economic inequality and to the lack of real democracy around the world. It aims primarily to advance social and economic justice and new forms of democracy, whatever the hell that might be. The movement, it's had many different scopes, since local groups often had different focuses, but its prime concerns included how large corporations and the global financial system control the world in a way that disproportionately benefits a minority, undermines democracy, and causes instability. Now, it began long before, but that movement was certainly the one that got the most press. Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Main Street, Occupy anything as long as we don't have to get a job. It took the disillusionment of a generation that went to college and realized they had no employable job skills when they were done with their 6 years of art history studies or whatever the hell they did there. And it gave them a core group to surround themselves with and commiserate. It was not their fault. It was the man's fault. So they gathered, they beat drum circles, camped in the parks, and got massive amounts of donations from individuals and corporations looking to virtue signal. And yes, they did. They made a bunch of money. And the organization never went away. It just pivoted. They continued to go out amongst the downtrodden, and they recruited. What they found was that the propaganda that was useful for the Occupy movement could easily be applied to the movement du jour, whether it be global warming, baby harp seals, abortion, wealth inequity, it doesn't matter. The talking points played equally. They just needed to shift the target. And they did. They did. Through the years, the message has been refined. The alliances have been created. Politicians have discovered how to leverage the movements and the messages for political advantage. And these are the same politicians who are on the judicial committees who assign judges. You should write that down. It took them a few years, which really, it surprised the hell out of me, as Democrats tend to be amazingly short-sighted when it comes to gratification. They don't seem to think about the future ever, just the immediate now. So I was as surprised as anyone to see how many of the correct judges they got in place to make sure that when things spin up, they can keep their people on the ground and making noise. Now, over the last few years, it escalated. The logistics were in place for more immediate movement and support to hot areas. The people were better trained in both tactics and response to law enforcement. A command and control structure was put in place and has also been refined. Local politicians have been brought under tighter control to ensure that police response was marginalized to merely be a holding operation. As the hierarchy was more defined, the individual cells were given greater autonomy to choose time and place for their actions, and command and control has been able to supply material support on much shorter notice. Regardless of what the mainstream media is telling you, this is happening. And if you want a better understanding of it, stick with alt media, both left and right. They are more interested in getting clicks than sticking to a narrative, so they get nuggets of truth thrown into their broadcasts. When you see the same nuggets showing up in both the alt-left and the alt-right, you are seeing the actual truth and not the shadows that the big networks want to show you. So what do we now have, and where is it going? What we now have is a mobile, decentralized army split into multiple cells capable of operating independently from central leadership. Their methods of communications are various, but they seem to be sticking with a committees of correspondence method similar to what was used by the colonists in the Revolutionary War. And for more information on that, we have a video, but I'm not going to gloss over the whole thing here. Watch the video. The greatest advantage of that method is that if one member gets nailed, he can't dime out the other cells because he has no personal knowledge of what they are doing or what their next action might be. It worked before, and it's working now. We have independent, autonomous cells. They have functioning logistics. They have a leadership hierarchy. And they have a growing army, hell-bent on fundamental change. And once again, how do I know that it's fundamental change thereafter? Because that's what they're saying. So where's it all going? That's part 2, which will be coming out shortly. If you enjoyed this, please like, rumble, share, and subscribe to the channel. We would certainly appreciate it. For all of us here at the podcast, myself, Bell, and Cardinal, until next time, please stay safe. Keep up your situational awareness. Keep your head on a swivel. And we're going to talk to you guys next time.